Hi, and welcome to my car. It's finally starting to cool down, and so I want to bring back my outdoor riding sessions, and I think that today is the perfect day to do it. We are at the start of a long weekend, and I'm really excited to finish this freaking outline. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Charlie. I'm a writer. I am currently working on a dark fantasy with psychological and paranormal elements. I'm calling it Project Reaper. It's about a girl who lives in a world where they trade power for goods, and she is the only one without a power, or so she thinks. And then one day she witnesses her boss doing something pretty unforgivable, blacks out, and when she wakes up, she's in his body. I'm currently in the middle of outlining the fun and games section. I did get a lot of this on camera, but unfortunately my old camera died, and when it did, it kind of corrupted a lot of the files that I had on that memory card, so I lost a lot of that footage. So I'm gonna give you some updates on where I'm at with that when we get to the park, but I think for now what I want to do is go down to this coffee shop downtown, get a coffee, maybe get like a little riding sesh at the coffee shop, and then I'm gonna hop on over to the park and do some more riding there. I am feeling really excited and really pumped, and let me tell you, where the last vlog left off, I was like really in my feels about whether or not I was going to be able to finish outlining the fun and game section. That section was really scaring me, and I will tell you that that has changed dramatically. Things are on a roll right now, and I feel like I can't write the ideas down fast enough. I am really anxious to get through this part so I can start outlining the other beats as well. I am gonna go ahead and pack you guys up, and I will see you at the cafe.
I just wanna go out on a walk with you. Baby, you know I just like to talk with you. You don't have to tell me anything that's new. I just wanna go out on a walk with you. I just wanna see your shadow next to mine, sailing over, baby.
Hi guys, it's like almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I am at the park, as you see from all the b-roll. It is such a beautiful day outside, and honestly the perfect day to take a walk around the lake. Where I left off in my last vlog was that I was really struggling to kind of narrow down what was happening in the fun and games section. This beat was sort of like a huge blank spot for me. I had no idea what was going on and what I was going to do, and the problem is that this is a journey book, so it would be easy and kind of flat and unoriginal of me to use that as sort of like a plot device instead of really kind of fleshing out that exposition. And unfortunately, I found that a lot of my ideas were just that. Like, what is it going to take for my characters to get from this location to the next location, and less about what was happening in the plot. And unfortunately, like, nothing that I was coming up with felt as strong or as crucial to the plot as the scenes that I was coming up with for Act 1. So I did have to take a step back from the project for a couple of days to kind of just let my mind roll over the ideas a little bit. And I don't know when something in my brain just like clicked into place. I had a better idea of where I wanted to take it and a better way to make it as compelling and as rich as what I have for Act 1. There are a lot of beeline story arcs and secondary character arcs that I've been adding into the beat sheet, obviously alongside with the main storyline, but all of these are sort of working together to build those bonds and relationships between the characters while simultaneously moving the plot forward, and I'm really happy with how everything is sort of working together. The original vision that I had for this book is starting to form really nicely. That's been really encouraging me to continue this process for outlining this book, and for the first time in as long as I can remember, I feel like I'm finding myself gravitate towards writing more and more. I almost felt like I was kind of forcing myself to write Project Daydream, and it's just like this feeling that I had, like almost of dread working on it. And I'm finding that the opposite has been true with this project. I missed this feeling so much when I was working on Project Daydream. I'm really glad to say that I've sort of found that stride again, and I'm definitely out of a writing slump. Anyway, let's get back to the outline so I can tell you guys where I'm currently at. I'm still working on the fun and games beat of Save the Cat, but I've outlined like 20 chapters, which is kind of insane to me. I feel like this book is going to be huge. I have maybe like 2 or 3 more chapters left in the fun and games section that I can think of, which means that this beat is going to span about 12 chapters in my book. I do have chapter 21 sort of figured out, but it's not completely there, and I do want to let that kind of simmer in my brain a little bit longer before I try to write it down. So I think I'm going to be doing some brainstorming while I eat some lunch, and I'm going to go get that now, maybe take another little short walk with my dog this time because he's been sort of cooped up in the apartment all day, and I will see you guys in a bit. Okay guys, it is Wednesday, the 3rd, I believe. I got a lot done on, was it Saturday? I think it was Saturday. It's been so long I don't even remember. I did get a lot done that day. I'm almost finished with the fun and games section. I feel like I have just been like spinning my wheels a lot in this section. I think what I'm gonna do is do some like impromptu writing sprints. I've already done that once during this process. I don't think I filmed any of that, but I'm thinking that that might help me just to kind of stay motivated, because writing with others is so helpful. It always helps me to focus. And I think it's just the fact that there are other people there who are doing it with me and I'm not so alone in it. And I'm gonna get this middle section done. I am committed to having Act 2 completed before I go to sleep tonight, because I really want to start working on Act 3 tomorrow. I am so close to the end, and I really think that I could have this done by the end of this week. I'm being bombarded with all of these ideas for different scenes and everything. So I am going to just really quick get the stream set up, and I guess I will see whoever decides to show up tonight in that live stream, and I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Okay, so we can obviously tell based off of the lighting that it's a lot later in the day. So it's almost 11 o'clock now. I wanted to jump on here really fast and update you guys before I got ready for bed about all of the progress that I made today. It's exciting news. I am finally out of the fun and games beat, and I finished the outline for the midpoint as well. I also started working on Bad Guys Close In, and I'm very happy to say that this act of the book is probably my favorite so far. Like, we are getting into all of the little things that like made me genuinely excited to work on a writing project again. Like, I am so overwhelmed by how just like intricate and complex all of the little details that are in the story that make me love it so much. Like, it's I have been sleeping on outlining. I have been sleeping on it, you guys. Like, I cannot believe that I've let myself go for this long without trying to outline. I am going to say it. I think I'm a plotter, you guys. I genuinely think I'm an outliner. I really do. I am obsessed with this outline. Like, the way that I am like weaving in all of the details into each beat and each chapter, and where I can see all of those little things that make a story what it is, sort of being layered in every single chapter. And I'm really proud that I've been able to actually do the outline, and that I'm really surprised that I'm actually enjoying it. I know I kind of got off to a little bit of a rocky start, and I'm still kind of on rocky and shaky ground when it comes to actually being consistent about working on my outline. But when I'm actually sitting down to do the work, I feel really good about everything that's happening in the story, and that is a stark contrast to how I felt when I was working on Project Daydream. As much as I love Project Daydream, I think one of the reasons why I was dreading writing that project, I wasn't writing in a genre that excites me. Like, sci-fi dystopian, I love reading it, and I even like writing it too, but it's not my favorite. Like, it's not where my heart lives, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm a fantasy writer. This is a project that I am really really passionate about, way more so like on a totally different playing field than I was with Project Daydream. I don't want you to think that I'm not going to work on Project Daydream anymore, because I am still going to be working on Project Daydream. I think though that I will be working on Project Daydream as a side quest and not the main quest. I don't want to say that what I did with Project Daydream was invaluable, because I do think that it was valuable. It was a huge learning experience for me, but I am thinking that I will probably not try to get that published. The more I think about it, the less attached to that project I am, which is a huge step for me, because honestly, like, all I want to do is write that query letter and send it off to agents and things. But I think I really need to take a step back and consider, what kind of writer do I want to be, and just sort of discovering more about my identity as a writer. Project Daydream really helped to get me to this point where I'm able to look back and reflect on the fact that Project Daydream really isn't the kind of books that I want to be writing. But anyways, all of that to say, I am really excited about where Project Reaper is heading. I'm still going to be doing revision vlogs and everything like that for Project Daydream. I've ordered the mock-up book and everything for that project, and I'm excited to work on it more. I'm just more excited for Project Reaper. I have to follow my heart in everything that I do, and that means sometimes letting go of things that no longer serve me, or adjusting where things fall on my priority list when I find something that I'm more excited about. I am going to go because I am feeling a little like I need to sleep. I'm gonna get ready for bed, and I will see you guys in the morning or in the afternoon, depending on whether or not I wake up at a decent time. Hey guys, I wanted to really quickly just check in with you guys and let you know what's been going on. I'm currently in the middle of the Bad Guys Close In beat, so I am so close to finishing outlining Act 2. I think once I get past this beat, things should speed up pretty quickly, and I might be able to, wrap up the rest of the scenes and Act 3. That being said, my outline right now is almost 10,000 words, which seems like a lot, especially since I'm not even finished with outlining Act 2 yet. So this outline's going to be a little intense. As I've mentioned before, I am trying to take this outlining process much more intentionally, because I am trying to approach this project in a much more intentional way. So every single scene and chapter that I've outlined is like 3 bullet points. They start at the beginning, middle, and end. In every single bullet point, there's a setting description of Delaney's feelings and things that are happening for the overall plot, but I'm also weaving in little details like subplots and any element that might need to go in the scene at this particular point in the novel, so that when Delaney gets to the end, it all sort of makes sense and everything's like tied up into a neat little bow. And I think the only way to do that properly is by taking a very intentional approach. And I actually think that when I'm finished with the outline, I'm probably gonna have to go back and actually weave in a couple of extra things, because there are some things that I've added in that I haven't actually mentioned at the beginning. Like, for example, there's this one scene, my main character is remembering a conversation that another character had with somebody else that she overheard at the very beginning of Act 2, and I actually didn't mention that conversation anywhere in that scene that it's happened, so I need to go back and add that in somewhere. It's my goal to have this book completed in only 3 drafts. So we've got the outline, draft 1, draft 2, and draft 3, and that's it. And then I was planning on having beta readers between draft 2 and 3. Anyways, that's about all I've got for you at the moment. It is currently 4 o'clock. I am giving myself until 7 o'clock today because I don't want to spend all evening doing this. I'm trying to be less of a binge writer and more consistent. And if I can even write like 2 or 3 hours a day every single day, I feel like that's much better than writing for 8 hours on the weekend and burning myself out for the rest of the week. I feel like I'll just be able to get a lot more done that way. I'm going to get writing, and I will check in with you guys after a little bit.
Let's get a little too drunk. Are you down?
Hello again from my kitchen. I was not feeling it last night at all. Like, the ideas that I was getting for chapter 30 just were not what I was wanting them to be. So I decided that I was going to just sit on it overnight and give my brain a little bit of a time to sort of think over the idea a little bit more. Hannah and I were talking about how sometimes your first idea isn't always the best idea. My brain sometimes has like this one-track mind where I'm thinking that a scene is going to go in a specific direction to start off with, and then I write it down and it just seems like mediocre. Like, this is not a good idea, right? But I have a hard time coming up with alternatives, and what I've been really trying to do in this outlining process is have multiple ideas and trying to figure out what the different avenues that my characters can take to get to the next scene. And it's important to do that, in my opinion, because that can affect things like the plot and what your characters end up going through, which sometimes means that the process goes slower than I want it to, and that seems to be the case here. I am still in the bad guys close in chapters. This is, I think, the 6th chapter in this beat that I'm working on. I feel like this next chapter could be either a turning point for like the overall plot, not necessarily for my characters at this moment, and it will definitely be picking which direction the book goes, and therefore basically choosing the ending. There is a certain thing that I want to happen, and if I choose to go one direction with this beat, I won't be able to accomplish that. So I'm just trying to figure out how I can get there now. I might actually have to go back and maybe redo some scenes that I've already outlined in order to make it match up to what I'm wanting this book to be. It's saying a lot, and my characters are doing a lot, and there's a lot happening. Everything advances the plot in some way, shape, or form. It's just a matter of picking which things are most important to highlight so that my characters can actually progress forward along their journeys and like in their subplots and things. There is a little tiny romance developing between two of the side characters, two of my favorite side characters, I should say, and I'm really excited about that. I wasn't expecting to do that, but I feel like it kind of strengthens the relationships my characters have. This is definitely very much so a found family situation. So for these two characters in particular, I feel like they just belong together. And that sort of came up sort of by the midpoint. I was thinking, I feel like these characters should be together. And so I'm starting to weave in that little romance subplot now, which means that I have to kind of go back in time to previous beats and sort of string in some little things like glances and snippets of conversation that they wouldn't have had otherwise. This is not a romance book at all. It does have romance subplots in it. I feel like having a romance subplot also really helps the readers get more invested in the characters. I am thinking that I am also going to be making this into a trilogy. I can see it spanning a couple of books, at the very least a duology, but right now I'm thinking trilogy because there's a lot that's happening, and I feel like my character Delaney isn't going to get where she needs to be fully by the end of this book. I feel like she needs more time. I definitely think that I'm gonna be outlining this with that in mind. Some things that I'm trying to do, you may have noticed in the B-roll, when I'm getting stuck, is writing it down. I find that when I'm writing it down, not only does my brain have more time to kind of process my thoughts and ideas, but it slows me down, so I'm not just writing the first thing that comes to my mind. I also get to see it almost like a tree, where I've got like the overarching plot and then all of the little things that could happen off to the side and the different options that each scene could go as a visual, which is something that really helps me personally. I think that having a visual, like tangible thing that you can hold in your hands is really helpful to the brainstorming process. Maybe not necessarily the outlining process in general, like I wouldn't want to write the outline by hand, but having those little brainstorming snippets down on paper really helps me, and it's saved my life more than once during this outlining process. So if you're struggling with your outline right now, or even struggling with drafting, then I would recommend that you try it. Just kind of brainstorm a little bit on paper. Sometimes it really helps. A lot of the time, the best ideas that you will get come when you slow down a little bit and you let them kind of work themselves out naturally instead of trying to force them. So that is what I'm trying to live by with this project. I'm feeling really good about it right now. I am in the best place that I've ever been with my writing up to this point in my life, I think. I don't think I've felt like this about writing since I was a teenager, and I've been chasing this feeling for a really long time, and I'm just glad that I'm finally catching up to it. Again, this passion is great, and I think the idea is great, but I do want to make another little side note that this does not mean I think that the book is going to be good. There is a big difference in having a good idea and having a good execution, and while I believe in my ability to get it to where it needs to go, whether or not I actually do that is another story entirely. I guess without further ado, I'll just jump onto my computer and we will finish outlining The Bad Guys Close In beat today, and I am going to finish Act 2 today. It is my goal. I am going to do it. So let's get it done.
Thought that I would be a bit at peace by now. Yeah, you're lying in the shadows of my room. Oh, always with your voice.
Yes, it is the next day, and no, I haven't finished my outline yet, but I wanted to take a second to check in with you guys on where I'm at in my creative process, and also like talk about the outline obviously and what's going on with that. So yesterday I hit the ground running, and I was really like pumped and excited to start working on the outline again, and I got stuck. I ended up connecting with Hannah Grace Fletcher, and we kind of talked through a couple of things, and I was able to sort of nail down what the next several scenes in the Bad Guys Close In beat was going to be. And I wrote those down in my notebook, but I never actually put them on the computer or in my Scrivener document. So I'm technically at the next beat, which is the All Is Lost beat. I haven't finished Act 2, but I am like very, very close. If you watched the last video that I made about outlining Act 1 and getting into the fun and games section of Act 2, I decided that I was gonna split this video into 2 parts, or maybe more parts, just depending on how long it took me. But the reason why I was choosing to do that was because I really don't want to sacrifice the quality of my work just for the sake of making a video, and that is kind of where I'm at right now. I found a lot over the last couple of weeks of me trying to film this video that I was sort of dreading pulling out the camera, mostly just because I have been in this like weird funky mood. I haven't really been having the best couple of weeks, and it's really affected my desire to pull out my camera, but it hasn't actually affected my desire to work on my book. So even though I've been continuously working on it, the progress that I've been making has been really slow. I think that in a way it's a good thing that that's happening, because I am still sort of learning how to not work on my projects in like a binge session, if that makes sense. And I'm slowly starting to allow myself to sort of sprinkle in my creative work throughout my week and using it as a form of self-expression and to kind of like vent my frustrations and feelings out. And I think that's a really large part of one of the reasons why I love writing so much. I want to just be real with you guys for a second. When I started my AuthorTube channel, I started it with the intention of giving myself a sense of accountability and getting to know other people in the writing community. And it's just something that I didn't have before. And it sort of catapulted me into this situation where my writing is very, very, very closely tied with my content. Pretty much every single writing session that I've had has been documented. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, and I don't think that it's wrong of me to want to do that, but I am starting to pull away from the idea of having them be so interconnected. A lot of the writing sessions that I've had outlining this book have been offline, basically off camera. camera. I just don't want every single time I write to be an event where I have to get ready and like I have all these other obstacles that I have to work through in order to work on my project. And that is something that comes along with being an author tuber, but I think that I shouldn't be so tied to it, because there are a lot of times that I would have sat down to write but thought in the back of my head I should use this moment to get B-roll and A-roll for my YouTube channel, but that often means that I have to get ready, I have to get dressed, and sometimes I am not always feeling up to doing that and to jumping over those additional hurdles that I have to jump over just so that I can pull out my camera and tell you guys about what's going on in my project. I'm hoping that that makes sense. It feels a lot like I'm rambling right now, and I didn't script any of this, so I'm sorry if I'm sort of talking in circles, but this is kind of just where I'm at mentally right now with my channel and with my writing, and just I'm seeing how intertwined they are, and I don't want them so intertwined. This doesn't mean that I'm quitting YouTube, absolutely not. I love doing this. I love making these videos and editing them, putting them up, and seeing your guys' comments and getting to know you guys. I love doing that, so I'm definitely not quitting, and I'm trying to find more of a balance, and so it might take me a little bit of time to get there, which means that I may or may not always have a video out consistently every single week. I am trying to be more consistent in posting YouTube videos more often. I think that I just need to have just a more healthy mindset about having the two of them so closely tied. I'm hoping that this makes any sense to you at all. And so I hope you guys can be patient with me, and I'm sorry that it's taking me so long to get some of these videos out to you, but I am doing my best and trying really hard not to burn out in the process. That being said, now that the like real talk portion of this video is out in the open, let's talk about my outline and how everything is going with that. By the way, my outline is now sitting at like, it's got to be well over 15,000 words now at this point. It's really, really long as I am outlining. I am also doing chapter outlines, so it's got a lot of movements with my characters, their inner emotions, things that are happening on in the plot, and subplots all in one. And I'm sort of marking those, and then I'm transferring them into each individual chapter so that when I actually go to write it, I don't have to go do that manually. But it's going really well. I'm very happy with the direction that this is taking. I have surprised myself in a lot of ways with the ideas that I've come up with for different things that are happening in this part of the plot. I really didn't think that I had it in me to come up with things that were so vital either. Like, I feel like I'm doing a good job of sort of representing the themes that I wanted represented, which means that when I go to write it, then I'll have a better understanding of what each scene needs to say. So I haven't really talked this much in depth about my projects before in the past. Like, it's all been sort of superficial stuff, like my characters are here now and they're like going there next, you know what I mean? I haven't really talked so much about this stuff, and one of the reasons why is because I had no idea what was going on in that novel. I didn't really know what I was trying to say with that novel, but with this novel I have a much better understanding of what my characters are going through, who they are, what the themes of this book are going to be, and the struggles that my characters are facing and having to overcome, which is something that I am just really surprised by, because I just never thought that I would like have the ability to think about a project of this size in such minute detail. I am 100% positive at this particular point in time that this is going to be the novel that I try to query. I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually super nosy. Please tell me about your books in the comments. I would love to hear more details, and tell me about your writing process as well. I do think that this is going to be the end of the video though. Why don't you leave the spa emoji in the comments, because I've been taking a lot of time to kind of take better care of myself recently, especially my mental health, and I think that it's really important as creative people that we do that. So go ahead and leave that spa emoji for self-care in the comments if you've made it this far in the video. And I just want to give you a huge thank you for sticking with me so far. There will be a part 3 to this. I'm hoping it won't be as chaotic as this vlog is sure to be. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to comment and subscribe if you haven't. And as always, I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!